Forget tarps. World War II created a fabric so tough it changed survival forever. If you think modern tarps are the peak of waterproof protection, you've already lost the plot. Long before plastic sheets, nylon laminates and synthetic coatings flooded the market, World War II engineers quietly created a fabric that was lighter than canvas, tougher than most modern outdoor gear, and naturally waterproof without plastic, rubber or gimmicks. This wasn't a marketing stunt. This was war solving problems fast, brutally and effectively. And once you understand how this fabric worked, you'll never look at a tarp the same way again. Welcome back to 0 Hour, World War II. Let's get into it. Why World War II needed something better than canvas. Early in World War II, armies relied heavily on canvas. Tents, ponchos, covers, vehicle wraps. Canvas was strong, yes, but it came with serious problems. It was heavy when dry, miserable when wet, and once soaked, it stayed soaked. In cold conditions, wet canvas turned into a liability that drained body heat fast. In aircraft, at sea, or in extreme weather, that could mean death. Rubberized fabrics existed, but they cracked in cold temperatures, degraded under sunlight, and restricted airflow so badly that condensation became a constant issue. Soldiers and airmen needed something that could block water without trapping sweat. That balance was rare, until it wasn't. World War II forced material scientists to rethink fabric from the fibre up. The breakthrough came with a tightly woven cotton fabric engineered at the microscopic level. Instead of relying on coatings, this material used extremely long staple cotton fibres spun into ultrafine threads. These threads were woven so densely that water physically could not pass through when the fabric became wet. Here's the genius part. When dry, the fabric allowed air to pass. But when rain hit it, the cotton fibres swelled. The weave tightened, the pores closed, and the fabric sealed itself in real time. No rubber, no plastic, no chemical membrane. Just physics and smart design. Tests during World War II showed this fabric could withstand water pressure equivalent to several feet of standing water. At the same time, it remained lighter than canvas and far more flexible in freezing conditions. For aircrew flying over icy oceans, this was, well, revolutionary. One of the primary users of this fabric during World War II was military aircrews. Pilots flying long-range missions faced a terrifying reality. If they went down at sea, rescue could take hours or even days. Survival suits had to keep water out while preventing hypothermia. Traditional rubber suits failed under stress. They tore, they stiffened, they trapped moisture inside. The new cotton-based waterproof fabric solved all of that. It stayed supple in cold temperatures. It resisted tearing even after repeated soaking. And it allowed enough breathability to prevent sweat from becoming lethal in freezing air. Some tests showed that immersion suits made from this material could keep a downed pilot alive significantly longer than anything previously issued. In war, minutes matter. This fabric bought hours. At first glance, this fabric didn't look impressive. It wasn't shiny, It wasn't thick. It didn't scream high-tech. But strength isn't always loud. Because of its dense weave, it resisted punctures better than canvas of similar weight. Abrasion tests during World War II showed it could survive repeated scraping, folding and stress without losing waterproof integrity. Even when damaged, it failed slowly rather than catastrophically. A small tear didn't spread. A cut didn't unravel the weave. That mattered for soldiers in the field. Gear got abused, dragged, frozen, thrown. This fabric took it and kept working. So, why can't modern tarps fully compete? Plastic tarps are cheap, light and, well, just about everywhere, but they tear easily, they degrade in sunlight, they flap loudly, they trap condensation underneath. Anyone who has slept under one knows the problem. You stay dry from rain, but soaked from your own breath. The World War II fabric solved that decades earlier. It didn't rely on coatings that peel. It didn't melt or crack. It aged gracefully. In fact, repeated wetting often improved its waterproof performance as fibres swelled more efficiently over time. Modern versions of this fabric are still used today in extreme outdoor clothing, military gear and survival equipment. Not because of nostalgia, because it still works. The silent advantage soldiers loved. Another overlooked benefit was sound. Plastic and rubber fabrics are noisy. Every movement broadcasts your position. In combat, that matters. This cotton-based waterproof fabric was quiet. It flexed silently, and it didn't crackle in cold air. For reconnaissance units, pilots evading capture, and troops operating at night, silence was survival. World War II wasn't just about firepower. It was about materials giving small advantages that, well, stacked into big outcomes. If it was so good, why didn't it replace everything? Production complexity, that's why. The cotton had to be extremely high quality. The weaving process was slow and precise, really meticulous work. During World War II, it was prioritized for roles where failure meant death. Aircrew, naval operations, specialized units. After the war, plastics were cheaper and faster to mass produce. Convenience won, plain and simple. Performance took a back seat. But the knowledge never disappeared. Today, this World War II fabric is still studied, replicated and respected. It represents a moment when necessity stripped design down to fundamentals. No excess, no shortcuts, just function. It reminds us that sometimes the most advanced solutions aren't loud or flashy. They're quiet, dense, thoughtful, and, well, brutally effective. And it proves something else. Long before modern outdoor marketing, people already knew how to stay dry, light, and alive in the worst conditions imaginable. If you enjoyed this deep dive into forgotten World War II technology, make sure you subscribe to 0 Hour, World War II. Share this with someone who thinks modern gear invented everything. History still has teeth, and we're just getting started.